and you're still tuned into the Motown Show on ET Now. And now let me welcome the founders of Battery Smart, Mr. Pulkit, Khurana and Mr. Siddharth, Sikka, here with us. Gentlemen, and thank you so much for your time. And Pulkit, firstly, let me come to you because Battery Smart as a company has actually achieved that milestone of 100 million battery swaps in India, the first ever by any Indian company. So congratulations to both of you on that. But Pulkit, stepping back from this milestone, how would you describe your journey and how do you see India's EV ecosystem, especially with respect to battery swaps? What challenges that you have faced all throughout the years, and how do you see the industry growing from here on?
Srishti, as India transitions to electric, it is evident that there were certain bottlenecks which have to be solved, primarily around the higher capex, which is upfront on the battery cost, and also the downtime for charging, which definitely makes it more difficult for commercial drivers to spend those hours waiting for their vehicle to be charged up again and resume their earnings. Now, battery swapping solves these two problems. And for those reasons, it is not anymore just an experiment. What it is doing is playing a pivotal role in India to fast track EV transition for commercial applications specifically. What we do is serve two-wheeler commercial and three-wheeler commercial drivers. In fact, now we serve around 1 lakh customers on the platform. And this 100 million swap milestone is a first in India and is a benchmark for the industry. That being said, it is still very nascent days for battery swapping, and only 4% of commercial two-wheeler and three-wheeler drivers are currently on battery swapping, which means there is a large headroom for us to grow this category. As leaders of this category, the onus is on us to kind of design and define what battery swapping in India would look like.
But Siddharth, you will agree with me that battery swapping is still at a very early stage in India. Why should one prefer battery swapping over a conventional charging ecosystem? How is that important, especially for the two-wheeler and the three-wheeler segment?
So especially for last mile drivers such as two-wheelers and three-wheelers, time is literally money. So every minute they're off the road is lost income for them. And traditional charging means they have to wait sometimes for hours, and they have to plan their day ahead around battery levels. Now that is something that doesn't work for commercial users who depend on daily earnings, which are the primary users of Battery Smart. So battery swapping basically removes that friction completely. And a driver can swap a depleted battery for a fully charged one in under 2 minutes, and they can get straight to work. There is no range anxiety, no planning for routes, no planning around chargers, no uncertainty about whether the vehicle will last the day or not. So that is the predictability, which is the real unlock, I believe, that Battery Smart offers to its drivers. We don't think swapping really competes with charging. It actually complements it. Public charging will always continue to be essential for long-haul private EV use case, but for high utilization commercial segments like delivery riders, like passenger e-rickshaws, urban logistics fleet, swapping will always be the fastest and most efficient path to electrification at scale.
From a business standpoint, give us some sense that how does it really improve the cost efficiency? And along with that, in this business, how critical is this scale to make all the cost efficiencies to work and make this business model quite viable?
Srishti, technology is the backbone of any network like ours. At our scale, where we manage more than 280,000 or 2.8 lakh batteries today, those assets are changing hands and are being part of different vehicles at different times. It becomes pertinent that we leverage IoT data and track how these assets are performing, as well as their geolocation. This helps us in three aspects. One, we are able to generate more than 45 lakh kilometer data every day. So we know the heat maps of a city, where are these drivers resting, driving, which roads are seeing more traffic, and that helps us to plan our network efficiently. The intent is that every customer should have a battery swapping network within 1 kilometer of where they drive. and should have zero wait time if they go and access that station for swapping their battery. The second benefit of leveraging this data for us is around the predictive maintenance and safety of these assets. So we are able to monitor how these different batteries are performing in different temperature conditions across different vehicles. All of that allows us to preempt any maintenance required for any batteries and does ensure higher uptime of the assets on the network. Thirdly, we leverage all the cell level data around how different chemistries and cell types are performing to further improve the batteries that should be deployed in a network like this at scale, and what would be ideal for these two-wheeler and three-wheeler customers in India. So we leverage all of these layers, and in fact, we are probably in a very unique position as the only company who would have charging, discharging session data for more than 100 million cycles across different kinds of cell chemistries as well as cell types. Because we are not a manufacturing company, we work with various battery OEMs and cell manufacturers and leverage all of this data for breakthroughs in chemistries and cell level products.
All right, gentlemen, with this, we let you go on. That's so good having you on the channel today. Thank you so much for your time and all the very best for the future. All right, but with this, viewers, we are completely timed out in this edition of the Motown. It's a goodbye from me and the entire team who put the show together. Thank you so much for tuning in and see you in the next episode.